Good afternoon. I'm Devon, and you are listening to you're watching. I keep saying listening because I have a podcast called Center of the Sun. You're watching my show called Talk with You by Devon. And I just saw a video on Facebook this morning from Oprah Winfrey announcing her latest tour stop, another tour stop. I didn't know, and for some reason, Oprah has been in my umwelt for the last 10 years regarding spirituality. So I naturally flocked to her on Facebook because she's been building her Facebook for the last 10 years and now it's like lit. I remember when she didn't have any followers. Anyway, she'll be with Tina Fey on January 11th. So Oprah Winfrey, January 11th, her Oprah 2020 Vision Tour. Last week, she gagged me with Lady Gaga, talking about radical acceptance and talking about getting your shit together voluntarily because even it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you did. If you don't take care of yourself, yourself will take care of you, and not in a way that is pleasing or comfortable. So yesterday I cut our video short because my landlord loves to just drop by because people that are retired and that own properties don't have anything better to do than to fucking watch over them like a freaking Fort Knox. But that's why I live here, because like it's taken care of. Imagine having a landlord that didn't take care of the place. They'd be called a slumlord. I've had one of those before. I didn't have heat. I didn't know it was illegal at the time. But yeah, so yesterday I cut the video off short, and I wanted to leave you with a few things before I moved on to the next topic, because it wasn't going to be that much longer. I keep making the thing squeak because it's by the tiles here, but I had some really good things. Oh, and before I get started, I wrote a poem. Well, I started to write a song. I'm going to call it a poem. It's probably going to be a song. I'm going to call it I'm going to call it a stream of consciousness, because it was inspired by Oprah. And even though we don't agree on everything, because you're not supposed to anyway, even though we don't agree on everything, I still appreciate her for her wisdom. So I wrote this little song, poem, just stream of consciousness, journal. For you, I wrote it for you, and it's inspired by recent things that I've been saying about Oprah and like her tour with Weight Watchers and stuff like that. So human beings are perfect. So if you're a human being, like William Howard Taft, yesterday we found on some sources like the FBI's website that he is a human person, and human beings are perfect. Earthen hearts, not made of stone. Scaffolding, bones, and curtains, higher than 10 feet tall, covering a surface. Layered light, shimmering gold, far away our bodies. An aura. Colors you are bold. A soul we all repurpose. Just like crystals, we are amplified by light. Thank you. Oh, that was cute. That was actually really cute. I read that today and was like, when did I write that? No idea, but it's right here in my own handwriting. You can't screenshot it. You already did. It's too late. You can steal anything. I don't even have anything on here. That was inspired by my album that I'm trying to write, that I started drafting in this notebook probably a while ago, called Songs for a New Earth. So that was just some, that was like that's how albums are made. You just start, it just comes out of you. It just comes from your spirit. You don't know where it comes from, but you just got to honor it and let it go. Honor it and just get it out. And, ooh, shit, I forgot why I was even in this motherfucking book. I'm so sorry. We were talking about inferiority complex yesterday. So that, what I just read was an exercise. in what we talked about yesterday. Like, I have to do this myself. When I'm talking to you, best believe I'm talking to myself first. And that anything that I share out loud has been reviewed by the board of, my higher self for millennia prior to sharing it with you. And because we are not contained in this physical reality, because we are spiritual and supreme beings, everything on this planet exists in its own universe and within the collective. It's this trippy ass motherfucking worldview that for some reason I've always believed. And I've tried to find the source of it as being contrived by society, but no. It's not, that's not how it works. And it's crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. Images of lions and images of rams and images of all of these supernatural metaphysical symbols of beings and stuff like that. It's this, that's the board. That's the board that I'm talking about. It's these parts of you that can be likened to wild animals that you have to tame. And I'm so glad Lady Gaga shared that with Oprah on her 2020 Vision Tour about her, basically her lions and and when I say it's just crazy because it's like it's about spirituality. So it sounds flowery, it sounds weird. But if you grew up in spirituality, it doesn't sound weird to you. But I know specifically white men, I just feel so bad because it's like their spirituality has been stripped from them. And that's why we live in this world where this hierarchy exists, because we all have a sense that it's there. We all have a sense that we're these great beings, but we don't have enough evidence. We don't have enough data that it's true, because what we actually are is a pattern recognition. Our strengths are pattern recognition and structures and all kinds of things that we've built this reality that makes our intuitions our intuitions false. And I have no idea if that made sense. Please comment below if that did not make sense. But you know what? I marked the page before I closed it because I always get off track. I just wanted to leave you with this. So there's a recap from yesterday. Inferiority complex. Resolve your inferiority complex by finding a new vantage point. Rise up, shepherd and follower. I mean, come through. Focus on being a force of perception. Your feelings, your senses, all of this is your power. But it's like, it's so dumb and great at the same time. That's why it's called power, because you can regulate it. It's regulated. There's infinity. But your life is your message, and you don't have time to spare, basically. I'm encouraging you to understand the meaning of potential, of the potentiality that we exist within some form of a holographic existence. I don't know. Just walk with me on here. There is something that we create in our mind. There is an image, because we know how the tissues in our bodies work. When you're watching me on your screen right now, or listening to me with your ears through your speakers, you're doing so not by literally seeing an image and it being projected onto the back of your eye, and then in some roundabout way it is revealed to you what is going on. No. You're receiving signals. There are 1,000 trillion million billion pixels flying at your orbital tissues, your optical tissues rather. Orbital tissues, I don't even know what that means. I'm not a doctor. I just work in a doctor's office, so I just hear words. and I think I know them, but your tissues, the light enters your cornea, does its thing. It's a symphony of chemical reactions that we do not understand. That's okay. There's chemical reactions, there's gases, there's fluids, there's all kind of things going on. Popping, clicking and popping, going into the tissues of your brain, matter. Those signals are then coded by your body. We don't understand it, but we can observe it. It's like, imagine being an alien and coming down to Earth and getting one of these in your hand and having an instrument, you know, compatible with this thing, being like, oh my God, I just made a discovery. There's energy moving through this device. Oh my God, it's moving, it's real, it's alive, it's here. The presence of the Lord is here. But you can only sense that it's on. You only know that the power is on, but you don't know that it's an iPhone 11 Pro Max with a triple lens camera and like however many gigs of memory with apps and selfies and Twitter and all kind of things going on. You don't know the inner workings. This is the level of our understanding of our own brain. We know that the bitch is on. We know that there's power moving through it, but we don't know nothing else. That's literally all we know. We know we can, like say you can plug in your charger, you know, like we know that we can like move the power over here. We can like turn it off, or we can destroy it or blow it up. You know, like we can do things. We can do like rudimentary things with our brain and our mind. But what is also apparent is that we are creating a hallucination in a sense. That's what's created. So when your brain codes it, you create a hallucination, and that's what you're seeing. That's what blue and red and white is, and then we all compare notes, and then we say that is what blue is, that is what the number 1 looks like, that is a house, that is a boy, that is a girl, you know, like this and that's the Matrix. We made it. It's not supernatural. It's not anything cray-cray. It is literally humans being humans from the beginning of humanity. And we've gotten off course, which is okay. Getting off course is not bad, but you are a supreme being, so you need to get your shit together because we don't have time to waste, because we need to be stepping into our uniqueness. We are not going, if it would be fine if we were like destined for like the answers coming, but nobody is paying attention. And I appreciate Oprah and Lady Gaga and Tina Fey and these people for even just like, even if it's all fake and like it's all whatever, is at least they're trying, at least they're doing something, because what I can't do is watch Love and Hip Hop. That's what I can't do. So, and if you watch it, I pray your strength in the Lord, because I don't understand. I do not understand it. I am going to be on my pedestal about that show, and it is a piece of crap. And I don't know what you have to see and hear to agree, but if you don't, that's fine. We all have our vices, I guess. I need a tissue. Ow, ow, ow. I was sitting wrong in my chair. Ow, my knee hurts. Ow, ow, ow. I need a tissue. And for some reason, I slept wrong on my knee, or not slept at all. I don't know what happened, but please hold. But it's the Matrix. That's the Matrix you live in, and it's just patterns of social recognition, or patterns of social conditioning. And when you start recognizing those patterns of social conditioning, then you can transcend them and like adhere to them, or like choose to do something differently. And that's what breaking cycles of generational curses and stuff like that. Like Lady Gaga was like, you know what? I could have an entire wife or entire husband and kids, and still all of this trauma inside of them continue this curse like probably it was already in my family. That's why I had dealt with it the way that I dealt with it and kept it going. But she's like, you know what? I got all this money and all this face and all this body and all these vocals and all this writing and all this, that, and all these blessings and all this presence and all this consciousness and all this. I'm not going to use it for my destruction. I'm going to use it for my good. And I applaud Lady Gaga for coming to that realization. Well, she had a psychotic break. And that's what I think she's out here being like, you don't have to do it like I did. You have a choice. You have your angels and your guides and your gods and stuff are you. And she didn't say that part. I'm saying that to you. Those parts of yourself that you're seeking to improve and the parts of yourself that you're asking an external entity to improve, the presence of the Lord exists already inside of you. Inside of you, outside of you. If you need the Bible to help you, the Gospel of Thomas. Look at the books of the Bible that are not in the Bible. It's called Harvard Divinity. You know, they have like, Harvard has these little like offshoot schools and stuff that you can go get like doctorates from and stuff. And I mean, study divinity. Just look divinity up. Human divinity. It's crazy. Jesus was trying to tell y'all that, but y'all just was like trying to like, you had ulterior motives, or the church had ulterior motives. I don't know what happened, but the recognition of patterns of social conditioning and manipulation of nature is like important. It's quite important. You should invest time and energy, and you can begin building a reality you want to see. That's why it's in the interest of your time, because when you start recognizing the patterns of society, then you can build a reality that either adheres to those patterns or revises those patterns or dismantles those patterns and rebuilds new patterns in its place. And the reason why I'm saying that you don't have any time to waste is because literally, and this is not fear, this is like radical acceptance. There is always a minimum 50-50 chance that you'll fail. Because we live in duality, you know, we live in a very interesting reality. And if you want to take it a step further and be like super dramatic, because that's like my bread and butter, like that's how I roll up in these streets, you could also die at any moment. There's always a 50-50 chance that you could die at any moment. So it is always in your best interest to understand the meaning of your life, because your life is your message and you don't have time to spare. The expression of who you are is the purpose of your life. That is the message. You need to live boldly and loudly and la 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 la. If people want to call you a slur or call you a word or this or that, be that thing. Live your truth, because there's always a 50-50 chance that you will probably die in an uncomfortable situation. So there's no logical reason for you to have fear around that realization, because it is not out of your control. How it all ends up is not 100% out of your control. So it's not something you should fear. It's something that you should like tackle with fervor. You should honor it, because instead, I want to encourage you from yesterday to build a reality that expresses the unique parts of who you are. Okay, so that's all I got about yesterday. God, that took 20 minutes. God, wow. See, that's why I started a YouTube channel, because I don't even have to have post-production. I can't add nothing because the file's too big. Because I'll be talking too much. And I don't know how to edit myself, because I'm like, everything I do is brilliant and beautiful. And then, and if you don't like it, I'm like over here, like I really would like to ask you to leave. Yeah, the way that I operate is very interesting, contrary to popular convention. But it is what it is. We follow where our interests are. And if you are not interested in listening to me rant, that's fine, because I literally have like siblings and stuff that will. I'm validated all the time. That's the difference between me. But I am a huge personality when it comes to expressing myself. So there's enough to go around across the entire world. And every time I interact with somebody, I get a positive response. So, and you know, there's always that 1%. My boss has to tell me this all the time because people want to kill me at work, but because I'd be just be too cheery. Good morning. Hey. I'd be too cheerful, but that's why I work there. Like everybody is like the truest gag. I'm like, everybody's like, oh, he needs to calm down. And they're like, we need him to stay right where the fuck he is. Like literally, I got a Christmas card like, thank you for your enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic. We need more of that around here. And that's just how I've been ever since the day I was in my crib. My mom tells me that I used to do that in my crib. Every morning I used to be like waiting for somebody to come get me. Because I was getting ready. I'm like, I need to get this life started. Like, we don't have time to waste. It's so weird. But we're talking about the law of three today. So Oprah Winfrey, I have no idea what she's going to talk about with Tina Fey, but we're going to talk about it. I'm going to try to find the video, and we're going to try to talk about what she talked about with Tina Fey. It's on Saturday, so hopefully she posts it. And if not, I'm gonna find a pirated version of it because it's like, I think like it's Weight Watchers or somebody like funds it. So I'm like, I don't care. I don't care where I get it from. I just want to consume. Because I have cable, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have CBS, all access, because I love Star Trek. Oh my God, I forgot Star Trek came back out. There's a new version of Star Trek called Picard. Oh, Jesus, help me. Oh, thank you. Woo, that makes me feel so good. I can't wait to get off this video and upload this bitch so I can watch Star Trek. Okay, today we're talking about the power of the law of three. I don't know why I wrote it like that. At the top, as my handwriting is like really crazy, but at the top you see, it says the unified field theory, superstring theory, and consciousness. These are all related, but they are not the same thing, and they are not related to what we're talking about today. But I just wanted to show you that, you know, this is how we get here. It kind of all flows together. Pardon me. Okay, the law of three. How to become a seer, a knower, and a conscious being. I have no idea where I got this information from, so if I pirated it or copyright infringement, I will update the notes accordingly upon notification of said error, because it was an error. But it's in here, and the presence of the Lord is here. But you are, and so the thing I'm gonna stop being stupid. You are born with a tremendous capacity, and I know you're gonna be like, no, you know I'm not. Like, this is dumb. Like, how? Like, prove it to me. You were born with these like very cute, very interesting, and very transcendent abilities to create. You are a highly creative being. You are basically a creative genius. Just like Oprah Winfrey. Like, can you be Oprah Winfrey? Can you create, and just be yourself and just express yourself to the point that it becomes your life's message? Like, can you have is there any sort of creation, or is there any sort of variation of life that maximizes your creativity and your happiness. Like, is that even possible? Is that even worth your time of pursuing? Well, I'm going to encourage you today to efficiently use your creative capacity. Efficiently using your creative capacity does not mean that you are a freaking like painter or a singer or a drawer or a speaker or anything. You can create spaces. You can create children. You can create nature. You can create anything. Creation is in the eye of the beholder. Creation is in the eye of the seer. It's in the mind of the knower and in the heart of the conscious being. Efficiently use your creative capacity. So, what is creative capacity? I don't know. I have no idea. Efficiently use your creative capacity. Why are my elbows so dark? I'm like, godly. Maybe I have been I've been leaning on my elbows too long. Aw, because this elbow's not dark. That one is. Man. But anyway, how much capacity do you have? And today I had to postpone the taping of today's episode because I have been in bed all morning just not feeling well. I'm like, why? What is going on? And it was because I skipped my dose of my Vibrate yesterday and I had to take it this morning, but I also had to take my beta blocker and my water pill and other stuff. And I'm just I took too many things at the same time, and then I felt a little ill, and then I couldn't I know. I'm remembering my morning, and my body is just, I'm like a dog. I have to pet myself and stuff. Be like, it's okay, boy. It's all right. But I just felt a little ill, and I had to take a nap. So I went and got breakfast, got coffee, took my medicine, felt horrible, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. And then my neighbor upstairs is, I don't know, river dancing. I don't know what the hell. And then so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm really going to go to sleep because I'm not going to be able to do anything that concentrate because I'm background noise. I can sleep within background noise. It's fine. So I actually turned off my light and then rolled over and went to sleep. Slept for 12 hours and woke up a little refreshed but kind of woozy because the beta blocker lowers my heart rate, makes you kind of oof. So I had to get my bearings, and then I was like, oh shit, I have more caffeine in the refrigerator because I just read the back of my kombucha bottle and I realized that I've been drinking caffeine in the middle of the night. So I can't sleep. I was like, why can't I sleep lately? And it's because I've been on this kombucha kick and I didn't know that they added caffeine in it. Oh, I'm so slow, but it is what it is. You learn something new every day. I want more caffeine. But that's why I was like, oh my God, it's so good. I'm like, it's so delicious. It's because I'm addicted to caffeine. But I drank some kombucha and then I got my notes together and then I felt better. I was like, let me get some pants on. Let me get some pants on. Let me go to my corner and let me make a video that is sufficient for YouTube. So I had to evaluate my capacity to create this morning because it's hard. And sometimes your stomach literally feels like a piece of crap. You're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And, but it's good that you knew what your capacity was in the first place. And generally what I've done is not create when I don't have the capacity. Even if I've broken every promise to myself, make new promises, give yourself grace. Girl, it's not that serious, but once you get your shit together and get your responsibilities done and have your free time and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to get into my thing, whatever it is, your flow, and then you don't feel like it. And I attribute that, for me, that's attributed to my extrovertedness, because it's the moment I get alone, if I'm together with you, oh yeah, Kool-Aid Man's busting through the door, we're having a party. But if I'm alone, I'm like, when's bedtime? I'm not good alone, but, and I think that's just my depression. It's like, oh my God. It's like the signals, see, you signal stuff to yourself. Like I say depression, I'm like, I'm depression. Tired. I don't feel good, it don't feel good. But it's the stuff you tell yourself. And getting control of that, the easiest way to get control of your mind and control of your overwhelming feelings and to just embrace radical acceptance of your situation is through your creativity, is through efficiently using your creative capacity. Your attitude towards yourself dictates the limits your attitude towards yourself dictates the limits of your creativity, okay? So your capacity to create is dictated by your attitude towards yourself. And the more you tell yourself you're tired, the more you give yourself an excuse, the more you make that thing true. You will never lose your creativity. Your capacity to create never diminishes. It's your perception, it's your attitude about yourself. And not like, oh, I feel shitty. No, it's like, have you done the things that foster your creativity? Because it's like when I was growing up, my grandma would always say, if it's on the floor, you don't want it. If your clothes are on the floor, you obviously don't want them. Like you either wash them, you put them away, you put them in the basket, you throw them down the clothes chute to be washed. You know, like you take care of your business. You don't leave them on the floor. And you don't lose your creativity, but if you leave it on the floor, if you leave it untouched for too long, it feels like it's being thrown away. And my grandma would throw a bunch of stuff away all the time. And she still does because she's a minimalist, and then she never said those words to me. She just started minimizing, which now I recognize the value of it now. Like, I'm like, damn, can I have my paper mache globe though? No? Okay. Whatever. But, your creativity is like the tap of your soul. It's like this. You use your little spigot. It's the spigot of your soul. It's all those like cute things about you that constitute your mind. It makes your mind, gives it spice and flavor. You know, you want a little bit of flavor on your mind there, and that's your creativity. You know, my little hand gestures, that's my soul being like, coming out of here. That's your super consciousness. That's your super mind. That's your ego. That's why I'm like, why would you, the shit that you like is like all the thing that's what matters. I don't like you. You know, like I'm just encouraging you to look at it from a different perspective, because when we look at it from Oprah's perspective, it feels like Jesus is like a part of it. And that's what I'm not doing. I'm like not doing it. And I know she's trying to like keep her endorsement, so she has to reference Jesus, but I'm just like, girl, it's not sustainable. But that's why I'm here, because when the pieces fall, when the chips fall, I'll be here to help you. So how do you tap your soul? How do you maximize the efficiency of your creativity? The first thing I want you to do is to clearly set goals for or your intentions about your thing. I want to increase my viewer watch time, something like that. Something as simple as that. Or I have a larger mission, I need to start somewhere. This is not the end all of my life, but I cannot build something if I never start it. So this is why I'm just like, let me natively upload to YouTube, like super amateur, like let's start from scratch in terms of this video thing. And that's a clear goal that I set for myself. And that's just a very dumb way of starting. You can be more structured, but I'm a very free spirit. So I just need I have a sketchbook and like a mouth, and I just let the chips fall where they may. And then they fall fine, because I was not raised in a barn, and I was raised with some sense, and I consult the kingdom of my mind. So the second thing you can do to tap the creativity that exists inside of your soul is believing that every single action that you, every single thing that you do, every action you take is movement towards that clear goal. Also, that goal is actively moving towards you. So you should believe that every action you take is movement towards your goal, and that the goal is constantly moving towards you in perpetuity. I already have, with my heart, I speak or see. I forget, I haven't sang these songs in like 10 years, but gospel does this very well. Gospel music does that very well. I already have it. You speak things in existence, but you speak things in existence for some other being that has nothing to do with you. That doesn't make any things. But that's an example. That's why I'm like, it's a pattern, it's a matrix. Like, it's just apply it to you. Like, it's the same thing. It's not, that's why it's not wrong. That's why we can always reference it, because it's like at the end of the day, it's the same shit that we are talking about right now. It's just not wrapped up in a white God. I already have it. But that's just a good way, that's just a good worldview to have in general. Like, even if you didn't listen to me being hopeful, being imaginative, that's how you maximize your creativity, is to use it. Stretch it. And sometimes, like Lady Gaga said in her video with Oprah on the 2020 Vision Tour, is that sometimes you have to learn lessons. Oops, I'm bumping my thing. Sometimes you have to learn a lesson before achieving that goal. Because sometimes the lesson is sustainability. Sometimes the lesson is patience. Sometimes the lesson is sit your ass down and shut the fuck up. So, creativity flows through your body as emotions, as electricity, as bioelectricity, because electromagnetism, and the electricity that is a result of the electromagnetism, which is the combination of the dipole electric and magnetism. You get electromagnetism that is separate from bioelectricity. And researchers on my blog, if you visit my blog and listen to my podcast, I've referenced a few papers about I forget which episode it is. If you text me 513-549-6080, I'll find the episode and text it back to you. If you text me for this specific episode, I talked about how researchers back in the 50s and 60s, they used to put probes on plants and like measure the electricity that comes from plants, because they were like, plants are talking to each other. I'm like, oh my God. And what they found was that not only are they talking to each other with electromagnetism, they're also talking to each other in a form of electricity that we do not understand and falls outside of the scope of physics. And then everything ended in around the 90s. It was like everything, they were like, oh shit, they're talking to each other on a different reality, different plane of existence under the earth. Like, it's some weird shit that's going on with plants, but we know that it's like a collective consciousness. It's something like Avatar, with Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're connecting their bodies to the ground. It's like kind of like that kind of shit where it's like all talking to each other, but it's outside of physics. That's why it's like, no, like it's all like evolution, like monkeys, and you're a monkey. It's like, that's why we're like sucking Albert Einstein's dick and like being all up in this science that we have called into question 45 million times. And for some reason we keep arriving back to the same thing, making TV shows about the same damn thing that we know ain't true. But because it's all theories, there's no fault in it. But if we never expand our theories, if we never go past, I'm like, I'm a researcher. What if we got an answer and then continued? What if we got an answer for our hypothesis? Say if we're trying to cure HIV and we find an answer that this thing doesn't work, and we validate, and we ask everybody to do the same experiment, and then 40 years later, we're still doing the same fucking shit. Why haven't we changed our question? Why haven't we found more data? Why haven't we found more information? Why haven't we expanded our question to something greater or something more broad or something more specific? Or, we just keep going around the same bullshit. And the point that I'm trying to make is that you have a powerhouse. You have a powerhouse of creativity. And each chakra, so let's start with the crown, which is your brain. So think of chakras as less about jewels that are depicted on walls of Hindu temples and stuff like that. It's not that. Think of your chakras as the balls of nerves that exist inside of your body. There are various knots of nerves. So the first thing is your brain. The second is your throat, your crown chakra. Crown chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, and root. Those are the main clusters. Those are the nerve. That's where the greatest number of neurons are clustered together. And instead of thinking of them as just the brain or just the gut or just the heart, think of your chakras and your organs and your nervous system as the clearinghouse of intelligence within your body. It's the clearinghouse. So kind of like the mind it's an action. A clearinghouse, like an automated clearinghouse, like for your bank, it sounds like it's like computers beep boop beep boop talking to each other. It's probably like two ladies talking to each other on the phone, being like, "Do you got this money in this thing? Okay, yeah, okay, I'm sending this over. Okay, thank you." Like it's way more human than we make it seem. It's systems, but your body's doing the same thing. Your nerves and your cells are talking to each other, and the way that you talk to your body dictates how that information flows through. So if you're always telling yourself that the world is ending, then every time you have a creative thought, it's going to be related to the world ending. So you're going to be like, okay, I have all this creativity, I have all this joy, I have all this thing, but I need to survive. I gotta live, and you're exaggerating. You're exaggerating. You're lying to yourself, because we create an image and we stick to it because it's what's safe. It's what makes us feel good, and that's okay. But you are doing it to yourself. Sometimes you're doing it to yourself, and if you're not doing it to yourself, you're allowing other people to do it to you, and that's why your creativity is being blocked, because you have too much shit on your mind. You have too much unresolved feelings going on. I'm sorry, but your brain is just the hardware. The clusters of nerves are just the hardware. When they put the probes on the plants, they put probes here and probes here and probes there and probes there. And normally when you put electricity like that together, it flows into one wave. That shit was two waves. They were like, we don't know what the fuck is going on inside these plants. Same thing with us. We can do EKGs and we can pacemakers and all that kind of shit going on all day, but you will still die because we don't understand how all of the electricity works together. We can kind of glean from it. We can make hypotheses and do things that help us kind of get a general sense of how it works, but the mind is the software. The mind is the database. I just heard my phone. Oh. The mind is the database. But because it's hardware, so because your brain is hardware, there is like resistance. There is time. There are thoughts. There are atoms and molecules and things that are repelling each other and attracting each other. So that's where consciousness comes in. And I'm going to end here. Consciousness is the operator. And as the supreme being, you are the conscious being. You are the love and the light. You are the darkness and the evil. You are the good and the bad. You are all those things. You are the conscious being. You are the supreme being. And you will have the awareness. You are the operator of all of these cells and all of this movement and all of this clearinghouse and all that kind of stuff. You can spontaneously reverse diseases if you wanted to. If you figured out how to. I don't know how to, but it's possible. People do it all the time. I've seen it. I work in an infectious diseases center. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. We don't know. You just stay alive. Some people live and some people die. And we're like, oh, welcome. Welcome back to the land of the living. Have a great day.